Are you the type of person who's always waiting? Waiting for your life to begin? Waiting for something to happen or something to change before you can do that thing you want to do or live how you want to live? Maybe you don't even realize that you're doing it, but you're waiting. You're waiting for something, waiting to have more money, waiting for the right time, waiting for a partner, waiting until you've changed this or changed that about yourself. You're in this waiting mode, waiting for something before you can actually live your life. Now, many people, they live like this. Many, they spend their lives in this long, extended moment of waiting. And in any moment that you're not waiting, you're passive. You're not living. Waiting is a moment of non-practice because you're not being fully present. You're not fully here in this present moment of your life, but rather you're off in a future moment waiting. The future is not a solution though, because it never comes. The future only ever shows up as the now, this current moment. The future is in your head. And in the future moment, which is in your head, the conditions are always going to be easy and they're always going to be right. But if you've been pushing something off, if you've been waiting, it's because there's something that's difficult, something that's uncomfortable for you, something that you haven't yet wanted to face. And whatever that thing is, it's still going to be there until you face it. This is why that future moment, it never arrives. It doesn't arrive until you decide that it's time and to then end the wait. I hear a lot of people say this when it comes to starting therapy. I'm waiting. I'm waiting till I have more money, or I'm waiting till I'm ready to deal with it. To deal with what? The thing that you're meant to deal with in therapy? It's like people want to show up to therapy, this finished package with this nice little neat bow on it already. But that's not actually the point of therapy. And the truth is, that's not the point of life either. We're never going to be ready to take that next step. But instead, we make up all these excuses and we keep pushing off the thing. When I've listened to this video, or tomorrow, or when I've done that thing. But the truth is, there's never actually a reason to wait. Maybe you're sitting there, you're watching these videos, and every time a penny drops or I give you something to reflect on, ask you to take a moment to make it personal, to apply it to yourself, you think, I'll come back to this. I'll come back and I will do this later. When I've listened to the whole thing, maybe you scribble down a question or a reflection, but you don't actually press pause and take the time to do it in that moment. You promise yourself you're going to come back, but you never do, or rarely do. Most people, they don't. And I struggle to do this as well because it's so easy to fall into this trap of waiting and postponing and pushing for a later moment. Maybe your coach, your therapist, the professional that you're working with tells you to work on something. And during the session that they're telling you, you sit there and you nod and you say, I will, because it makes sense. But then when it comes to it, into the next session, you have to admit that you didn't actually do it. My clients, they confess this to me all the time. I know, I get it, because I'm the same. We know that it makes sense to do the thing, the work on ourselves, the reflection, to take the time, take the space, and yet we end up postponing it. And our life, it ends up being made up of these moments of non-practice, more moments of waiting than actually fully living. You know that it would be good for you if you exercised, or if you stopped eating all those snacks, or if you had that difficult conversation, or if you actually started pursuing your dream, or started planning and saving for that trip that you've always wanted to do. You know this. You know how good it would be for you if you did, and yet you don't do it. You wait for another moment to arrive, to do it then. You keep postponing to a future moment. But in doing this, in waiting and pushing it to the future moment, you're just going to keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. Waiting is not a way to live. Waiting is not a practice. Life is a practice. Life is a practice, showing up every moment, practicing being the best version of yourself, learning, growing, expanding. Life, everything about life, is a practice. Love is a life practice. Yoga is a life practice. Yoga is not an exercise form, as so many of us in the West believe it to be. No, yoga is a life practice. Meditation is a practice. There's no goal. It's a practice where you keep coming back to your breath, to your body, to your connection, or to whatever it is that you're practicing. Now, emotional alchemy, emotional mastery, is a life practice. This work that I teach, it's a practice. There's no goal. It's just, and it's nothing less than, the commitment to show up and to do the best that you can do. Life is a practice. This is the art. And everything in your life is an art. The practice and art of breathing, the art of moving, the art of eating, of sleeping, of sexing, the art of loving, the practice of loving, the art of talking, of walking, the art and practice of being human. Everything in your life is a practice. Everything that you are and everything that you do is a form of art. Nothing more than and nothing less than art. So start right now. Ask yourself, what is my practice? And how long have I been ignoring my practice, been postponing it? And for what reasons? Because there's never a reason to wait. So quickly, do it right now. Press pause. If you didn't bother to stop and answer the questions, it already shows you the depth at which you're living. The level of fulfillment, of openness, of love and purpose that you feel is directly linked to this. It is directly linked to your willingness to practice in every moment. The depth that you're willing to live at. Do you use each moment to practice? Because practice is about the now. Through practice, we wake up. Otherwise, we stay asleep. We repeat the same behaviors and patterns endlessly until we wake up to them, until we realize what it is that we're doing. We relive our pain, we relive our trauma, and we inflict more pain and more trauma until we wake up. You get the tools through life, through working with me or with someone else, you get the tools. And then you practice them and you keep practicing them. Practice, practice, practice. It's the willingness to keep showing up, that willingness to keep adjusting, to keep practicing. So as you listen and as you live, don't hesitate to press pause. Take the time that you need to reflect and sit with and really feel into what it is that I'm sharing with you, what life is sharing with you. It's less about the intellectual understanding and more about how it applies to you and to your life. So do this work. Do your life slowly and do it intentionally. Stop waiting, because waiting is, after all, a moment of non-practice, and your life is a practice. So if you're ready for more, or you want support with this, then reach out. Click the link, subscribe for more, but reach out because I'm here for you.